Hello, I'm Jody Wolf. You're watching EXPOZ today, March 19, 2011, 10:37 p.m. Birmingham, Alabama. Topic: continuing the first day of the Millennium after the Battle of Armageddon. So we're still in the first day of the Millennium, and I've got a few things to tell you that are fact. And abilities that we all used to have, but we slowly lost them, but we'll get them back. And let me start with telling you, I know a gentleman, personal friend of mine, that holds 4 world's records as a man with the strongest abs. His name is Tom Owen. He's a friend of mine. And the reason I know this is because I drove the truck that ran over him, and I was the 8th truck in a row, and I was in a giant box van, and that earned him the 3rd world's record through Guinness Book a couple of years ago in Phoenix, Arizona. He's got supernatural ability. Now, there is a show called Stan Lee Superhuman. I don't know if it was Stan Lee that had this on his show or if it was another program. But my point is, how far can a man run today? I'll go back and I'll say 400 years ago, and even 300 years ago. Did you know that Indians, North American Indians, could outrun horses? And I know everybody there is saying, yeah, right. Well, that is a fact. They could, and today they still can. And I don't mean put the horse in a plowed field and the man on a hard track and let the horse run. No, a man can outlast a horse. That's a fact. So that's how they called him. A man could outlast a horse. A man would not give out, the horse would. Now, in Mexico, this is in the northern part of Mexico, but it is still 300 to 400 miles south of the Arizona border. I want to try to get your bearings there. There's a mountain chain, and there's several towns and villages throughout these mountains. And you never see them because there are no roads there. The way they communicate, the way they go from town to town is simply walk. But if they got to get there in a hurry, it's documented and it was on the show. A man could run it and run it overnight. 50 miles from one town to the next. He'd run the entire 50 miles and take only short water breaks. And this is a fact. So let's jump right back into our first day in the Millennium, where Christ is reigning as ruler of this earth, and there are people under him that has their places. And those of us that are left, we're in bliss. We're in perfect peace. But let me tell you about the amount of the brain power that we use today, and then probably what we will use in the Millennium. It is said, and this has been argued back and forth from scientists and brilliant people, that Einstein, as smart as he was, probably never exceeded using 13% of his brain. And I've heard people say, oh no, this man used 50 or 75%. No, he did not. And I guess if you go back and look at the biblical people that were the wisest men on earth. You're talking about people like Solomon. And as of today, he was probably still the wisest man that ever lived. Now, he was a special friend of God, and he probably used an enormous brain power, but he probably didn't use over about 13 to 15% of his brain. Now, we're in the millennium. This is our first day. Who could have slept last night when the Battle of Armageddon ended, when Jesus went through with his blazing sword and wiped out the armies that were left that were attacking the Jews, not because they're Jews, but because they're the apple of God's eye. So it's the work of the Antichrist. But who in the world can sleep after knowing that your God just wiped out the remaining armies of all the earth? And during the next few minutes, God cleaned it up. Who could have slept? I mean, my gosh, we're still awake. Hey, we've just entered a time that we were born and created for. We're there, okay? So, your abilities are going to increase on a scale that'll go through the roof. All your abilities. And I'm going to say this. You take an average person like me, and right now, if I'm really lucky, well, if I try very hard, I might can use 3 or 4% of my brain because, hey, I can't compare with a doctor. Good Lord. I can't compare with a mechanic on a diesel car, But really, let my brain power increase in its natural way that it was intended, because we fell away back in the days of Adam and Eve. We fell away, so we lost a lot, but we're gaining it back. Could you imagine what you could do if you could use, just say, 50% of your brain, or 40%, or 60%? I believe in the first day, I believe you can take a single sheet of paper and a pencil, and in a matter of minutes, you'll have a cure for the common cold. In a matter of minutes, another man will have an 8-ounce cup of water, and he'll make his car drive for a month. In another 2 or 3 hours, there'll be another man sit down and have a complete 100% re-cure. And I'm saying re-cure because there is a cure for cancer. But he'll have it down in just a matter of hours or minutes. Your ability to think, your ability to use your brain power will go through the roof. I believe a man will sit down within 10 minutes, 15 minutes. He already has it in his head, but he can figure out how to make a car fly. He's solved the law of gravity, how to use it to his advantage. People are doing that. People have done that. But people can't tell you about it because they're killed for their knowledge. Stan Myers, for example, made a car that could drive from New York to California on, I said on the thing 25 gallons, but it's 22 gallons of water. He was killed for his knowledge. So the gentleman, his invention stolen because he had a cure for cancer. If you go down this list, it continues a long way. There are cures, there are breakthroughs, but our government does not want you to know about it. Why? I don't know. Anyway, I got to stop here, and I want to jump into another one and just give you some really good, exciting first day of the Millennium News. Jody Wolf, EXPOZ.